Welcome to another video of where we're looking at back pains, myths, where we're busting them. This is our third one in a series. Actually it's the fourth one, because the third one we already did a video on it, which is about resting and stuff. So underneath the video here, put the description in the description. There's links to go and see that. But the reason for these videos is that we see so many people using different strategies for back pain that are really based on just bad information, and they're doomed to fail before they've even begun. So the reason for these is they're not used in combination with multiple things. So just on their own they'll do very little. If they're used with something else, they'll have an effect. So today's one's about strong abs. Now many people will believe that strong abs will prevent big back pain, and they may, but not on their own. All right, so why have we been convinced that abs have been strong? You know, doctors and therapists are even known to prescribe planks and abdominal exercises in the belief that if the core is stronger, your back will be protected. And to some degree that's right, but in many cases that's not the only thing at play. So the reason all this come about is all comes to do with the TVA, which is a deep abdominal muscle, probably the pelvic floor, multifidus you could throw in, and diaphragm to be probably a bigger role player than all of them, to be honest. But research has shown that people with a history of back pain, or no history, their TVA fires normally, and about 30 milliseconds before any movement is commenced from your limbs. So basically it's like a fire first muscle, so it's anticipating movement, so it makes sure that the spine is stable, so that you don't expose it to problem. And when people have back pain, it's been proven that these muscles fire either too late or not at all, and that hence it then exposes the spine to the damage. So this is where the need for the abdominal exercises come in, because people think like, well, if that happens and I just strengthen it and train it, then everything should be fine. It's not quite as simple as that. So a great exercise to use that are sort of train this. These are sort of some exercises that we may use, and you see that we do use them. But if this is as far as you go, you will have many problems. All right, if you're only using this strategy and you think it's going to help you, you're not going to get far. All right, so because the reason is when we move, we don't just activate one muscle to do so, and we don't do it in isolation. We do it in a sequence of things where it's all working at once. Example, picking up a box here. And this is where the unit muscles, which would be the TVA, the diaphragm and pelvic floor, etc., they're unable to provide movement. So all they're there for is just to keep us still. They don't connect to bones that can move and pick this thing up. They need the legs and the arms to do it. So if you don't train them to work together in the sequence, they won't ever be able to do it within that program. It won't matter how strong you are lying on the floor doing these, that won't make you any better at doing this. All right, it may help you to get better at doing this, but you've got to get better at doing this by doing this. So so if I've written here, the inner unit muscles cannot provide movement. They're not strong enough. They don't have any capability for doing things that are heavy or powerful speeds. They need the outer muscles, so the leg muscles, your arm muscles, to do it. So your job is to train them together. You can train them separately, but you must put them back together for you to get anywhere. Examples of inner and the outer unit, and these are videos and articles we've done before where we explain the use of the slings, and the slings are where we're working opposite leg and arm all the time. So this is an anterior, posterior. Lateral slings are a big one for back pain, where we see a lot of shifting of the hips, creating problem of the spine and longitudinal spine. And this is the picture from Anatomy Trains, giving an example of all these myofascial lines. All right. So the confusion with the core. So as I mentioned before, they're unable to actually move you. So all they can do is wiggle and flop you around like a fish. All right. So when you understand that, like, you can't train them like a bicep curl, like a bicep for a bicep curl to make a bicep stronger. It doesn't work like that. If they don't have any influence over how you move, and it's not their purpose, then you have to actually know how to integrate them into movements where the spine is going to be exposed, but the legs and arms are moving. So we've done heaps of videos on these before, and these are some of the ones that I would suggest to go onto our channel, have a look up, and that give you great examples of the many different things you can do with the core where we're doing what we're explaining. Just make sure you understand that you could be, I've seen so many people be great at these exercises but just horrible at doing this. This does not translate into that, and that will, this poor method will translate into that, and that both of them will give you a herniated disc. So you might have had incredibly strong abs that absolutely helped you, and nothing to prevent your back problem. If anything, probably contributed to your back problem. Also understand that there's a lot of compression in exercises that are abdominal based, and we did a video on this recently as well, where we showed you how many pounds of pressure are created from some of these abdominal exercises, especially ones like this one, and even the typical sit-up. You can see here there's 210 pounds of pressure, or kilos of pressure, going into this movement. So if I have a disc problem already, this is the worst thing I could ever do. Even though it's making my abs stronger, I'm just creating more pressure into the discs. I put this quote up quite a lot because it's a great one. It's telling you to stop thinking about things from an anatomy of like bicep origin and insertion. Think of things in movements. When movements aren't specific to, they're never specific to one muscle, so you've got to learn how to move better if you want to improve your function, and learning to move better is when everything's working together in the right time and sequence. Now, this doesn't mean you can't use ab exercises. Like I said before, we do use them. Just make sure you integrate them, and they have a purpose of going from here to here to here, which are the real life movement. And then both of these ones here, where we see the disc problems in low back problem become a real issue. So if I change these, I won't really need to do that anyway, but I might have needed that to change that. I'm just knowing that I'm going to get to here. All right. So in summary, training abs is a good start. Knowing how to use your breathing to create pressure will help you a lot. Overuse and poor selection of exercise will not help you. More likely to make things worse. And of course, none of this will make any difference if you don't change your move anyway. So the real secret to the back pain is to solve the puzzle of moving better. Do this and you're pretty much going to be pain free. For more ideas on how we might do this, some free reports, there's an advanced online program that you can get with a 90-minute video and instruction manual, and we take you through assessments and all that sort of stuff as well. Make sure you check the description on the video here, because I've given you heaps of those links to guide you on all reports and other articles and videos that we've done before. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed that video, and we'll see you on our next one.